So what really happened to the singer Aaliyah? And why do people say that this guy is completely responsible for her death? Now the story starts with this guy, Luis. And Luis is around 30 when all this begins, and he's living in Florida. But here's the thing about him. He really wants to be a commercial pilot. But I guess he doesn't want to put that much effort into it. So he just lies his way through training. He falsifies his logbook to show hundreds of flight hours that he never actually flew. And with these falsified logs, he's able to get his commercial pilot's license. After that, he applies for piloting jobs, and he lies his way through that too. On the job applications, he claims that he has more experience than he really has. And on top of that, the guy starts stealing. He gets caught taking a toolbox of aircraft tools from an aircraft company so that he can sell them for cash. This dude is a mess. But then one day, in 2001, he gets into really big trouble. Because he's out driving through a neighborhood, and he runs a stop sign, and so police pull him over. And the officer questioning him is like, "What are you doing in this area?" And for some stupid reason, Luis is like, "I'm gonna be real with you. I'm in the neighborhood to buy some cocaine." And police are like, "Good grief." And they search his car. And right on the front seat, they find crack cocaine. And so, bam, Luis is arrested. And I believe this is his mugshot. And so he goes to court and he pleads no contest to 4 felonies, including drug possession. And Luis, he knows he's fucked. Because if his boss finds out about these drug charges, he'll lose his piloting job. And even worse, if the FAA finds out, he'll lose his pilot's license. But then, something unexpected happens. The judge in the case is super lenient on him and lets him off with probation, and as long as he keeps consistent employment, no criminal conviction will go on his record. And Luis, he can't believe it. I mean, he's just gotten away with being busted for drugs without his boss or the FAA finding out, and that's incredible. So from here, Luis is able to keep flying. He just has to keep a steady job. But then, 12 days later, he gets a call from work saying, "We need you to fly to the Bahamas and pick up a pop star and her team." Now that pop star happens to be this woman, Aaliyah. And Aaliyah is 22 years old and she is at the absolute peak of her career. She's just released her self-titled album, Aaliyah, the previous month with massive success. She's been working with Timbaland and Missy Elliott, so she's pumping out banger after banger, like Try Again and More Than a Woman. I mean, you get it. I'm a fan. And so anyway, Aaliyah is in the Bahamas with her team filming the music video for her next single, Rock the Boat. And filming goes really well. I mean, they actually end up finishing a little early. But then that leads to a problem. They don't have a flight scheduled until the next day. And the record executives want Aaliyah out of there as fast as possible so that she can get right back to work on another different project. And so her people have to rush to make last-minute flight arrangements. And for some reason, either because it's last minute or because they're trying to save on costs, they schedule a flight with a plane significantly smaller than the one that they were originally scheduled to fly on. And so, just 12 days after pleading no contest to drug charges, Luis is hired to fly this tiny charter plane to the Bahamas to pick up this huge pop star and her crew and bring them back to Miami, Florida. Now, while Luis does have his commercial license, he is in no way, shape, or form authorized to fly this specific type of plane, which makes this whole flight entirely illegal. Not to mention, he's also been drinking and doing a little coke. So he is drunk and high. But he isn't going to let any of that stop him. He wants this job. He needs this job. And so Luis gets in his little ass plane and he flies out to the Bahamas. And he lands at the airport where Aaliyah and her team are waiting. And Luis's drunk ass is 2 hours late, and so her team is already all upset at him when he gets there. Okay, but here's the thing about Aaliyah. She already has a huge fear of flying. So when she gets out of the car and sees this rinky-dink, small-ass Hot Wheels-sized plane, she's like, oh, hell no, there is no way I'm getting on that thing. She would rather just wait a day and use the bigger plane that they have coming tomorrow. But Aaliyah's team, they push back. And they tell her, "You're scheduled to be in Miami tonight. People will get fired if you're not there." Okay, but then it gets worse, because then the baggage handlers start loading up all the luggage, piling up the plane with boxes and boxes of super heavy equipment from the video shoot that they just did. You know, like cameras and lighting rigs and gear cases, and that's on top of all their personal luggage. And even Luis' drunken high ass himself is like, I think all this equipment is too heavy for a plane this size. And the baggage handlers are also like, you know, he's right. You can't take all this stuff. It's dangerous. And this starts a huge argument with members of Aaliyah's team. Like, this is important equipment and we already paid for this flight. But Aaliyah, she has more common sense. She's like, I think they're right. The plane is too small. I'm not getting on. Then, I guess she's tired of the arguing because she says, I got a headache. I have to go lay down. And she goes back to the van to lay down while her team continues to argue. After that, someone on her team, we don't know who, knocks on the car window and is like, here, take this for your headache. And he hands Aaliyah a little pill. Now, to this day, we don't know what the pill was, but it's suspected to have been a powerful sedative, because after she takes it, Aaliyah quickly passes out. So much so that members of her team have to carry her from the car onto the plane, clearly without her knowledge and without her consent. So now everyone is on board the flight and they're all ready to go. And so now Luis has a decision to make. If he loses his job, he'll violate his probation, then he'll be convicted of those drug charges and lose his pilot's license. But Aaliyah's team is being super pushy. But to be fair to them, they have no idea that this flight is illegal. No idea that they're putting their lives into the hands of a pilot who's unqualified, on coke, and shouldn't even have a pilot's license to begin with. But none of that is the worst of it, because then Luis screws up big time. As the pilot, it's his responsibility to make sure the weight of the plane is safe. So he needs to weigh the luggage and then do the proper weight and balance calculations. And if the plane is overweight, he legally must refuse to fly. All of their lives depend on this. But of course, that's not what he does. Instead, he gets into the pilot's seat and he starts the engine. And so now 9 people are accelerating down the runway on this tiny little plane that's almost 1,000 pounds overweight and completely off balance. These guys have no chance of making it. And so the plane takes off and it climbs to about 200 feet into the air. And then suddenly, boom, it rolls hard to the left. And Luis completely loses control. And the plane takes a nosedive and it plummets straight down, faster and faster. And then, kaboom, it crashes. And tragically, everyone on board, all 9 passengers, including Aaliyah and Luis, are all killed. Here is a picture of the wreckage.